Hello everyone, I'm welcome to a new video on the channel, and today's video is going to be my top 10 films of 2021, which I did promise I will make, and I will just get straight right into it because don't want this video to be any longer than it needs to be. So I've got two honourable mentions to start with because I thought I needed honourable mentions because a lot of people do put honourable mentions in their list, and these two films just didn't quite reach the level to fit into my top 10. But I still think that they are fantastic films with fantastic bits of acting in. So my first honourable mention, and I'm going to try, I cannot promise this will work because I've never done it before, I'm going to try and put a picture next to me whilst I'm talking about this, but see if it works or not. But anyway, my first honourable mention is Supernova, which stars Colin Firth and Stanley Tucci, and was released back in the end of June last year. And it's basically a story, I've got it here, so in fact I don't even need to put the poster up. I won't put the poster up for the ones that I've got, I'll just put the poster up for the ones that I don't have. But yeah, anyway, nonetheless, Supernova is a film basically about a couple who are going on like a road trip up north because one of them has a concert because he is a pianist, and the other one is dying from Alzheimer's, and they know it's going to be their last road trip together, so they make the most of it. This is a beautifully shot film, and I personally think that this is both Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth's best performances. I think they're absolutely fantastic in this film. I just think it's a beautiful shot film. The score is just great, and it's just a lovely piece of art in my opinion, and just recommend definitely checking this one out because it is fantastic and went under the radar when it was released earlier last year. So yeah, that's my first honourable mention, Supernova. And my second honourable mention was released almost a year ago now, last February, and was quite big in the awards, and I thought this was a fantastic film, but again, because there was so much that came out throughout the rest of the year, this just didn't quite manage to crack my top 10, and that is Judas and the Black Messiah, starring Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield. Obviously this is about Fred Hampton, who was the chair for the Black Panther Party in, I want to say, Illinois, and it's about this FBI informant that basically infiltrates the party to try and, well, he's basically told us to try and take them down. But he doesn't know whether it's the right thing to do or not, and just doesn't know what he should do. He's a bit conflicted. Fantastic film, brilliant performances from both Kaluuya and Stanfield. Again, like Supernova, shot brilliantly, has a fantastic score, and it's just a very interesting story, also a true story. And I'm a sucker for true stories, so yeah, I really enjoyed Judas and the Black Messiah, and that is my second honourable mention. Going into my top 10 now, so the first the first 5 I have physically to show, so I will show you physically, and then my top 5 I'm going to attempt to try and put a poster up whilst I'm talking about it. But I'm saying this and it probably won't happen. I'm going to have hope because I want my videos to be a bit better this year. So let's just get on to it anyway. So coming in at number 10 is Disney's Cruella, starring Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. I believe this is the best Disney live action film we've had so far. Obviously this is like Disney, this is the best Disney film this year. There are obviously other Disney titles in here, specifically the next two, but they're not like actually Disney, they're just a company that Disney owns. But this is proper Disney, and obviously this is like the prequel to 101 Dalmatians, and in this film you find out why Cruella became a villain basically. Emma Stone's fantastic in this film, as is Emma Thompson. Soundtrack to this film is one of the best soundtracks of last year. The costumes are beautiful, it was just shot brilliantly, it's just a fantastic film, aimed towards a more mature audience, not really intended for kids. It's kind of a more child-friendly version of Joker, I'd say, although it is still quite dark in places. but it's a great story, and I really enjoyed this. This was one of the first films I saw when we got back to the cinema last year, and definitely, as I say, one of the best. So yeah, that is Cruella, which is my number 10. Coming in at number 9, which is a film that isn't on many people's top 10 lists. It might be in their honourable mentions, but I haven't actually seen it in any top 10 lists that I've watched. But this I just had a lot of fun with. Don't get a lot of films like this nowadays that are so original. And that is Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, directed by Sean Levy. As I say, very original concept. You do not get a lot of films made like this nowadays, so it was really refreshing and great to see this when it did come out. And it's just a lot of fun, lots of great comedy. It's just a film that we don't get very often nowadays, and when we do, it is very much appreciated if it is done well, like this is. So I had a lot of fun with this. It was originally, like the rest of these, this was probably my first one where I said, yes, this is my favourite film of the year. And then as the year progressed, there were films that just about beat it. But yeah, absolutely love this film. Probably the best Ryan Reynolds film to come out of last year, because Red Notice was probably on my worst of the year, as was The Hitman's Wife, Bodyguard. I thought they were both pretty bad films, but that's just my opinion anyway. But yeah, Free Guy is my number 9. Coming in at number 8 is a Marvel film. It is not the only Marvel film on this list. It's one of 2 Marvel films on my list, and it is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Going into this, I wasn't too excited for it. I never am when new characters are introduced, but this surprised me. This was a hell of a lot of fun. Great story. Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi, is great, perfectly cast in this film. Got a great supporting cast of Awkwafina, Michelle Yeoh, Tony Leung, and Ben Kingsley, who stole every scene that he was in. Obviously returning from Iron Man 3, playing Trevor Slattery, I think his name is. But yeah, this is great. The bus scene is one of the best scenes from 2021 in my opinion, and it's just great, beautifully choreographed action, beautiful set designs, beautiful costumes, great story, got good comedy in it, as most Marvel films do, and it's just highly entertaining, and it is my second favourite Marvel film of the year, and my 7th, I want to get it right, favourite film of the year. So yeah, that's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, coming in at number 7. Now, coming in at number 6 is another superhero film, and one that I was in the middle about looking forward to, because the first one of this, which has nothing to do with this one really, I didn't like. In fact, it's one of the most unwatchable films ever in my opinion, and I am pretty open to watching most films, but I won't go back and watch the other film. The film I'm talking about is The Suicide Squad. This is fantastic. This is how The Suicide Squad should have been done the first time around, not what came out, because that was god-awful, in my opinion anyway. This was fantastic. You didn't know what was going to happen to any of these characters. Any of these characters could have been killed. You just didn't know. It was very tense. The comedy was perfect. The action and gore was brilliant in this film. Soundtrack was brilliant. Everything about this film was how it should be. How a Suicide Squad film should be. The cast was perfect in this film. Idris Elba, John Cena, Sylvester Stallone voicing King Shark, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. It's just a fantastic film. One of the best comic book films to come out of last year. And yeah, number 6 on my list is The Suicide Squad. Now, coming in at my number 5, my top 5 is one that everyone was waiting for. It was delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed, and then it finally came out. It kind of divided audiences. Some people just thought it was okay. Some people thought it was brilliant, like I did, and this managed to get into my top 5. And that is, of course, James Bond's latest outing, No Time to Die, Daniel Craig's final film as James Bond. This was done perfectly. I know a lot of people weren't keen on the ending. I'm not going to spoil it because some people still may not have watched it. But I thought that it was done very well. I think that is the best way that it could have ended. It is, at the end of the day, Daniel Craig's swan song as Bond, so he had a great send-off in this film. And it just was everything that a Bond film should be. You had the cars, you had the gadgets, you had the Bond girls, you had everything. Everything comes back. Maybe the villain wasn't as strong as he could have been. I think he could have been stronger, the villain. But nonetheless, I still think it was a fantastic film, and it's definitely probably third best Daniel Craig film, and definitely in the top 10 Bonds of all time. That is No Time to Die, coming in at number 5. Right, now getting into my top 4. So I've got to go on my list. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. But coming in at number 4 anyway is Will Smith's latest film, King Richard. Going into this film, I was looking forward to it for certain, because it's Will Smith and he is one of my favourite actors. I was unsure because I don't like tennis. I do like sports films, but I thought, how can they make a film about tennis players interesting? And they managed to easily. It's a flawless film, I think, in my opinion. Will Smith's best performance by a mile. I hope he wins Best Actor at the Oscars this year. I have my fingers crossed. I have money on it. Not literally, but if he doesn't, then it will be a big Oscar disappointment, because he is fantastic. The best performance I've seen from an actor last year. And it basically follows Richard Williams, who is the father of Serena and Venus Williams, and basically shows how he helped them, mentored them, teach them through their childhood to become the professional tennis players that they did, and it showed their journey along with his to success, basically, and fame. And it's just fantastically done film. Will Smith stole the film. Obviously, his performance was, just as I've already said, flawless, and it's just one of the best films quality-wise, not just like entertainment-wise, because a lot of these next films, in fact, the next 3 films, in fact, actually, I've got this order in the wrong way. No Time to Die is... Hang on. I've got these in the wrong order. Bear with me a second, I'm just trying to work it out. I'll be back in a second. Sorry, I completely messed this up. King Richard is actually number 6. The Suicide Squad is number 7. ShangChi's number 8. Free Guy's number 9, and Cruella is number 10. Haven't got to No Time to Die yet. But anyway, sorry about that. Got the order wrong. But now, if you're still watching, I hope you're still watching. I would understand if you're not, because I do rabbit on. But King Richard is actually number 6. So yeah, that's my number 6 favourite film of the year. Coming in at number 5 is a newish release from November, and one I was been looking forward to for over a year, probably 2 years at this point, and that is Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is how a Ghostbusters sequel should be done. Not even going to mention the atrocity that came out in 2016. That is another film that I just won't rewatch again. This was awful in my opinion. But this is how a Ghostbusters sequel should be done. Not relying on the past heavily, but obviously we did have that homage, and it is a continuation of the first 2 films. Everything about the film was right. The atmosphere of the film, the score, visually, just the story, everything about this is what a Ghostbusters film should be and is. And for that reason, it had to be in my top 5. So yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife is my 5th favourite film of all time. And then coming in at number 4 is actually No Time to Die. This time, I'm not going to explain why, because I already have, but that is my number 4. Now into my top 3, all fairly recent. They're definitely all from the second half of this year. The third one is probably the last entertainment-wise film on my list. The other 2 are more quality. This is more entertainment. And coming in at number 3 is Spider-Man No Way Home, which was, I believe, the last film I went to see at the cinema last year. Fantastic film. It's what a Spider-Man film should be. It is everything that a Spider-Man film should be. Bringing back the villains from the previous Spider-Man films was done right. It made their characters more interesting, the ones that weren't dealt with so well the first time, like Jamie Foxx's Electro, Risa Fan's Lizard, Sandman. They were done better in this film. And the story was interesting. Obviously, it was brought into the MCU, and most MCU films are brilliant. And there's bound to be an MCU film in everybody's top 10 list at the end of the year, if not 2, like in my list. But yeah, it is everything that a Spider-Man film should be. And it was just done brilliantly. Because it's quite fresh, I'm not going to go into much more than that because people may not have seen it yet. But it is a brilliant Spider-Man film, and I had to have it on my top 10 list at the end of the year. So Spider-Man No Way Home is my number 3 for favourite films of 2021. Now coming into my top 2, my number 2, which was my number 1 for quite a while, and I actually thought that nothing was going to beat it. I was certain that that was going to be my favourite film of the year, and it is quite a lot of people's number 1 of the year. But something else came out December that just floored me and had to be my top 1. But my number 2 favourite film of the year is Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright's latest film. I wasn't too excited for this going in because I'm not a big fan of horror films, but the trailer did interest me. It did look much like horror, it looked more psychological, which I do quite enjoy. And wow, what a fantastic film. Obviously goes back to the 60s, the costumes, the music, just the way that Soho looked in the 60s was perfect. I went to see it with my nan, who grew up in London in the 60s, and when we came out of the cinema, she said they got it spot on. That is exactly how she remembers it. So when a film does that, you can't ask for much more. Acting was fantastic from both Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy. Just, it is a pretty flawless film. I gave it 5 out of 5 when I went to see it. It still stands at that. Can't wait for it to come out on physical so I can rewatch it again. I believe it's just been pushed a week to February the 7th. Because I think Ghostbusters is now coming out on the 31st alongside June, which you may have noticed isn't on my top 10 list. It's an honourable mention, it's definitely top 20, but just didn't get there for me. But anyway, Last Night in Soho is my second favourite film of 2021. And my favourite film of 2021, my number 1 film of 2021, is Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. Now, I don't know if any of you follow me on Letterboxd, but if you do, I'll put it in the description below anyway. When I reviewed this film, I just said all my thoughts. It is fantastic. I haven't seen the original West Side Story. I do intend on correcting that. It is over there somewhere, in that pile there. So I will watch that at some point later this year. But it was just fantastic. I love musicals, as you probably know. And every song was great for me. And some musicals, they're an odd song where you just don't attach yourself to, but I loved each and every song in this West Side Story film. I thought the casting was excellent. I thought Rachel Zegler, for her first performance, was absolutely fantastic, and I hope she does get nominated for an Oscar because she definitely deserves it. I just thought the way that the dance scenes were choreographed was beautiful. I think just the palette of the whole film was fantastic. The story, I love my love stories. To mix that with a musical is perfect for me, and I just think this is how films should be made. I know there are a lot of films out there nowadays that aren't made to this quality, and are done poorly, but this is just an example of what a film can be if you get the right director and the right team behind it. And for that reason, West Side Story is my favourite film of 2021. So that is it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my video telling you my top 10 films of 2021, obviously with the 2 honourable mentions. I wanted to do this earlier in the week, but I just didn't have time. Now I have. I hope to do my top 10 most anticipated films of 2022. In fact, if I have time, I may do that straight after this. I will get this uploaded for you straight away, though. Try and edit it, as I said, to put the posters in if I can, but if not, then I just won't worry about it. I just wanted to tell you what my favourite films from last year were. So yeah, if you like the video, don't forget to give it a like. If for some reason you didn't like the video, then by all means give it a dislike, but if you do choose to dislike it, I'd appreciate it if you let me know it down in the comment section below. That way I can improve on it in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded onto the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. Have you seen any of your... Sorry, I'll say that again. Have you seen any of the films that are in my top 10? Are they in your top 10? If not, tell me what your top 10 films from last year were. I enjoy interacting with everyone that takes the time to leave me a comment, and I always get back to you. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.